Hi there, I'm Scott Kaiser and Echo Frericks of Team 4 Star, and you're watching Konosuke 7.
Before I even get started with this video, I want to thank my sponsor, Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy tastes great and doesn't make you crash later on after drinking it. It's gluten-free, soy-free, and 100% vegan. They've got some starter kits for you guys and even some tubs and of course some deals and bundles. And if you use my promo code KANO, you'll get 10% off. Link in the description. And once again, I want to thank Rogue Energy for sponsoring this video. I didn't think I'd ever have to make this video. Despite all of the history and drama between us and plenty of times when I could have made this, I didn't. Simply out of brotherly love. But given recent events, I feel like I finally should. However, before I do, and before I even start this video at all, I need to give some context and basically expose myself. You see, I can comfortably talk about this stuff because I can comfortably say that I am not this person anymore, and those dark days in my life are long past me. So, first things first. When I was in high school, I dated a girl, and me and my friends currently call her Salt because she was always a salty bitch. The relationship I had with this girl was extremely toxic. Toxic to the point where we had each other's login to every piece of social media that we had. Arguments were on a regular basis. She was even caught cheating on me multiple times, which my family, of course, found out about and proceeded to immediately hate her, to which she responded by being butthurt and not understanding why. Yeah, she was very fucking stupid. She thought cheating was normal. So I remember the last and final time she cheated on me. It was 4 months after Christmas, and everything was weirdly going fine. There wasn't any arguments, no attitudes, and talks of us getting married were brought up more often. I had even bought the ring already and was a week away from asking her to marry me. So I remember that day pretty well too. So I was at work and I was on my lunch break getting food. And I remember that I had gotten a call from a restricted phone number. I wasn't originally going to pick it up, but something told me, like, yo, pick up that phone. So I did, and it was a dude who called himself Zeke, and he was telling me he was sleeping with my girl. He laughed in my ear about it and even told me to fight him about it. So I confronted her about it, and she was the most unapologetic I have ever seen someone, and even pulled the whole "I don't love you anymore" thing. So needless to say that I was furious and I wanted to fight this dude, which is, a funny sidetrack because he pulled up to my house, and when I started walking over to his car, he immediately reversed his car and sped away. I was like 19 at the time, and the dude was 32, mind you, so that shit was funny. Anyway, here's where the exposing myself thing comes into play. I was deleting pictures of us from my phone and found a whole mess of her nudes, and I decided, you know what, since this bitch decides she wants to cheat on me and get naked for strangers, then I help her with that shit. And I uploaded her nudes and video of her stripping on the hub. Now, don't try and look for that shit because that video is long gone. Of course, I know what I did was illegal and very morally wrong. Do you think 19-year-old me gave a shit? Hell no. I remember thinking to myself, if she could cheat on me with a straight face and proceed to try and push me to kill myself, with her reasoning being, I don't love you anymore, then I deserve to have a little revenge. Like I said, those were some dark fucking days, and that relationship was horribly toxic. After her ugly friends got word that I did that, they decided to strike while the iron was hot and lie about me saying that I cheated on her, which, believe it or not, I actually didn't. Her friends just hated me. Now, here's the second time I'm gonna expose myself. Immediately after the shit with Salt, I was extremely depressed, and her pushing me to try and kill myself was working decently well. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. So, a friend of mine decided to introduce me to a friend of his. A girl. I never really had a nickname for her, and I don't feel like giving out her fucking government, so I'm gonna just call her Chi. I don't know what it was, but as soon as me and Chi met each other, there was this massive ass sexual tension in the air, to the point where during the second day of me knowing her, we were already banging. It wasn't until we were already done banging that she mentioned that she had a boyfriend, which I should have broken things off then, and but like, hell no. Like, especially since I had just gotten cheated on. Like, you would think I would know how that feels and shit, but if I remember correctly, I decided, fuck this, I'm gonna be selfish. So yeah, my character and self-morality took a hit during that shit with Salt, honestly. So anyway, me and she became friends, and friends with benefits. while she was still in a relationship with her boyfriend. There was even a point in time where she had me meet the dude. It's kind of fucked up, right? So once they broke up, it was like sex every freaking day since we didn't need to sneak around anymore. To which both of us started to catch feelings. Or so I thought. I'll explain that in a bit. I had told her a few weeks later, it was probably more like a little bit over 2 months, like around there. I had told her that I loved her, and her reaction to me saying that shit, and I kid you not, was meh. And I still don't know why I stood in that emotionally abusive ass situation, because every time I tried to proceed and talk to another girl, instead, since she wasn't interested, she'd hit me with the "but I'll miss you," so I stuck around. She was like a fucking drug to me. It's like every time I tried to pull away from her, she would successfully pull me back in and go back to fucking leading me on. So she would go on about how she doesn't love me and doesn't want any type of relationship at all, but then would proceed to have sex with me. At that point, she decided if I don't say this shit back, I'm gonna lose my fucking little play toy shit. So she said, "I love you too." And to this day, I sit and wonder why the hell did I believe that blatant ass fucking lie. But when people are emotionally vulnerable, then they're just emotionally vulnerable. Shit with me and her didn't officially get cut off until she said so. I don't remember why, but one point in time, she started drinking a lot and started doing drugs. At this point in time, it has been like 2 years since me and Salt, and she and I have spent almost every day of those 2 years together. So, of course, I was emotionally invested. I don't remember what the fuck it was, but knowing me, I probably had a real shitty day. And on top of that, I had found out the girl I was in love with was doing drugs. So here's where the exposed myself part comes in right here. Dude, I was so fucking pissed that I said, "Bro, I can hit you with a fucking uppercut right now." To which she took literally and cut everything off. Now, obviously I wasn't gonna actually fucking hit her, but she didn't see it that way. And what made me truly angry was that the 2 years that we spent together, she spent all that time expressing how she hated Salt for what she did. And what she did was horrible and disgusting because the dude was like 11 years older than her. What made me angry was that she spent 2 years telling me that she didn't want a relationship and I wasn't good enough and yada yada. And after she cut everything off, she met some random fucking dude on Discord who was 11 years older than her as well and had a fucking daughter and proceeded to date him and do the exact same shit Salt did. Very hypocritical, isn't it? Fun fact, after he left her ass, she was all boo-hoo about it, which made no sense to me because she cheated on him too with a few guys, but, whatever. After knowing him for a few weeks, she decided he was good enough for her after I spent 2 years being there, physically and emotionally, talking her off a ledge whenever she was close to offing herself, and dealing with the emotional roller coaster that she is. So at this point, the same shit happened to me twice, and like, bro, I was fucking done. At that point, I was ready to check out. I hit up an old friend of mine to buy a gun, and I was ready to blow my fucking brains out. That was it. So while I was waiting for them to like actually get their hands on one, I became much more reckless, which is a dangerous thing. I got careless with my driving, almost got into fights with random dudes, and I didn't care about what kind of trouble I would have gotten into, like, at all. I even started to drink a little bit. So, as a result of me being reckless and so angry, I went to her house and I vandalized her car. And on top of that, I blamed it on someone else, which she showed a glimpse of wanting to go back to how we were, especially with the whole banging again shit. And just like that, I was hooked right back into that fucking drug until she found out it was me and cut shit off again. Now, my channel partner, the Fallen God, knows her and is very close to her. Me and him have polar opposite opinions when it comes to her. I personally will never forgive her for destroying the last piece of sanity I had left, lying to me, and leading me on for 2 years and putting me through hell by lying to me about loving me, especially since I was fresh off of being cheated on. While the Fallen God holds her dear to his heart because of their history together and how long they've known each other. And even with those polar opposite opinions, we understand each other. He understands why I'd feel the way I do. And he was all like, yeah, you did some fucked up shit to him when it comes to her. And I understand the deep love you'd have for someone who you've known for so long and care so deeply for. Pretty wild shit, right? Again, I can very comfortably say that I'm not that person anymore, so I'm perfectly fine talking about this stuff. And a lot of that stuff happened years ago, too. Now, I'm only talking about this and bringing it up because after I make this video, I know he's going to try to make a counter video or a statement on Twitter and think I'm withholding information about myself. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about the YouTuber JiJiChillen. Now, any OG viewers on my channel know that I've done videos with him and done great live streams with him too. But there has been a pattern of specific behaviors from him ever since we were children, and I've been overlooking it for all my life. And I think I should really bring it to light. So I'll start from the very beginning and work my way down. JiJiChillen and myself have known each other all of our lives. We simply grew up together. There has been plenty of times where we would sleep over each other's houses and play video games practically until the sun came up. The simple days of playing PlayStation 2 in a dark room that's only lit up by your oddly huge CRT TV were peak childhood. I've always said this and will never stop saying this. I loved that man, and if I loved him any more than I did, I would have been gay. I'm not going to bring up personal family shit that happened because it honestly has no place here. So, there has been plenty of times when my parents didn't want him coming over the house anymore. Why was that? Well, he has been caught red-handed stealing both video games and money from my house before. So, obviously, any parent would be like, nah, dude, you ain't coming back in my house. Plus, it kind of bugged them that I constantly bought him food and stuff because I had a job at like 13 with my dad. Anyway, when they told me they didn't want him around the house anymore, I pretty much argued with them to still let him come over, because at 13, what other way are you going to see your friend that lives a half hour away without your parents' help? So I argued, and they actually listened to me. So that was cool. But after that, they started having me come over at his house instead. Now, this is around the time I noticed his resentment towards me started to build. You see, the biggest example I have of this is when we were young, he'd always get these little girlfriends and stuff. And obviously, he'd want to introduce him to his friend and not just say, hey, what's up? Like I'm introducing myself. Now, I'd like to think I'm not an ugly dude. So those girls would apparently dump him and tell them they were in love with or just favored me instead of him. And that happened so often that he started to gravitate that anger and frustration towards me. And as a result, he started treating me differently and was a bit more cruel towards me. But this was also around the time that our mothers had a falling out, so we had no more communication until I think we were like 16. This was before Wi-Fi was super common, so yeah, at like 16, I was basically allowed to do whatever I wanted. I wasn't into drugs or smoking or anything. My mom had a pretty chill kid. I came home from school, played my video games, and sometimes walked over to visit Salt. But on a random day, JiJiChillen reached out to me and we reconnected, and just like that, I got my best friend back and the resentment was gone and we were back to chilling on video games on PlayStation 3. But I was still going out of my way and going the extra mile for him. For example, his grandmother had gotten him a PlayStation 3 with only 12 gigs on it, which I didn't even know they made. So I ordered him a 120 gig hard drive and installed it onto his PlayStation. And on top of that, I'd mail him PlayStation 3 games to his house on a regular basis. I spent a lot of money on this dude. At this point in time, we would still have our random ass little arguments and shit, but it wasn't really anything crazy. Shit happens, friends argue. That shit happens. At this point in time, things weren't really all that toxic yet. There were points in time where it was, but this was around the time that I had learned how cruel he had been to his, at that point in time, girlfriend. I reached out to her and wanted to see what she would be comfortable sharing about that relationship with him and how it affected her. Alright, so right now I've gotten in contact with one of JiJiChillen's ex-girlfriends and shit. And they've dated for like a good portion of time and shit like that. And obviously I wanted to get your side of things that had happened between you two around the time you guys have been involved with each other or speaking or whatever the case may have been. So whatever you feel like it's comfortable sharing, what was your experience like and how did it affect you? Like getting to know him for as long as you did.
Well, when I first met him, we were in the 6th grade, and I was middle school, and He instantly started liking me, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, we can date. We dated from the 6th grade to the 8th grade, and when the relationship first started out, it wasn't too bad. I didn't notice any red flags, but at the time, of course, like we in the 6th grade, like who's worried about that? But then I've noticed, like as time progressed on, he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? He was that he was emotionally abusive. Um,
Okay.
very emotionally abusive. Like he just didn't care about my emotions. Like whatever he said about me, he like said it. He didn't care about how I felt. Everything was just always about him and what he wanted and how he felt. Um, we argued a lot. We definitely argued a lot, and everything would always be my fault. Like, oh, if you did this, I wouldn't have done this, or you did this because da da da, so I did this. It was just everything was just always my fault when it came to him. It was never he could never take accountability for his actions. It was just everybody else's fault but his. Um,
And at that young of an age, that was the reaction to a lot of things.
yeah, he when when we were in middle school, he was already 15, 16 because he got left back a couple of grades.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a couple of them. So he was older and a little more mature than I was, but he definitely he had some issues. Um, there were several times where we broke up a lot. I remember one time we broke up. He threatened to bring his cousin. He was gonna beat me up and do all this other stuff. He definitely threatened me a lot. He always threatened to put his hands on me. Um,
That
He
I genuinely did
always
not know.
tried to pressure me into having sex with him when I didn't want to. And at the time, I was young. We were in the 7th to 8th grade, so that's not something I was worried about. He definitely pressured me into it. Well, tried to pressure me into it, and I wouldn't do it, and that would always turn out into an argument.
When you say
I
like
just
it would turn out into an argument, do you mean like it was one of those like you must not love me kind of things or?
yeah,
Uh,
like and I've never had sex with him like ever. But it was just like, oh, that's how you show me that you love me if you do this. And like he was trying to make me go to the park and do it before school. And I'm like, I'm not going to have sex with you. Like I used to sleep in late on purpose so I would miss out on the time or be like, oh, I can't come. Like just make up lies just to avoid it.
just to avoid like running into him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so I'd be like, oh, I don't have enough time because that's not something I wanted to do. And I told him I had plenty of time, but he didn't care. Like when he did not care. Yeah, and then after me and him broke up our 8th grade year, I didn't talk to him during high school until my senior year, and he had hit me up out of nowhere talking about, oh, at the time he had a girlfriend, and he had hit me up out of nowhere talking about, oh, like, can I can I can we like link up one more time and like make out just to get it out of my system? And I told him no because at the time he had a girlfriend. And number two, I didn't like him, and he got really upset about that and was trying to argue with me about it. And I'm like, I don't really want nothing to do with you.
So
Overall, he's toxic. He's toxic.
so
He's
correct me if I'm wrong. So from your point of view, when you were a senior in high school, your ex-boyfriend randomly texted you out of nowhere while he was in a relationship with another girl already and asked you to make out. You said no, and you got all pissed about that.
he got very upset. Very upset.
Okay. This is genuinely stuff I actually did not know, especially with how long I've known him. You would think I would know this, but I
Yeah,
actually didn't.
a lot of the stuff I didn't say because I just let it happen and just didn't say anything about it.
Mm.
I don't talk to him. I don't care for him. Like it's just I've learned my lesson. Um, that's something that I would never do again, or somebody I would never deal with again.
If I
Um,
remember correctly, did you ever mention at one point about him trying to fight a boyfriend that you had like some years after high school?
oh yeah, oh Lord. I don't even remember the full scenario.
So it was you. Okay. Because I swear to God, I thought like I had you confused with somebody else. Like, did he do that to
No,
her or somebody else? I forgot.
it was one scenario where they were going back and forth. Something happened. He did something, and he happened to find out, and they were going back and forth through messages, and his girlfriend had stepped in, and I'm like, me and her got into it because, when you my boyfriend, I'd rather die. Like, nobody's gonna talk to you any type of way. I think I can't remember what happened. But yeah, they got into an exchange of words, and yeah, I said like, oh, if I see your boyfriend, I'm gonna fight him, and yeah, they. I'm like, okay, well, if you want to fight him, go ahead, but I'm not stopping the fight because you're gonna lose. So if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I forgot how that situation started, but yeah, I don't even remember. Now that I think about it, I don't remember how it started.
So
She
from what you've been like explaining from like his behavior towards you from that very young of an age all the way to his most recent interaction with you sounds like a very it sounds almost like a very possessive you belong to me kind of thing, you know?
toxic, yeah, very toxic, very toxic.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's very not cool. I like I can kind of not I can't say that I can kind of get it cuz I can't. But like from you acting so young, you can only use the I'm young and stupid excuse for so
For so long.
long until it's like cuz it's like dude,
But
if you've
even,
already
but
graduated high
even
school
I
and
feel like at a young age, your parents teach you, right from wrong. You know where certain things are right. You know where certain things are wrong.
right.
Like you may not get everything right because some things you learn as you grow,
Mhm.
but you know what's right and what's wrong, and you know what's acceptable.
Yeah, morality has to come into play at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So is that pretty much everything that you're comfortable sharing on your end?
Yes.
Okay, great. So okay, cool. So, thank you for actually like coming forward and, volunteering to like, share your experience with him and all that to like bring into like cuz I feel like the story would be much better if it would have come from someone who had actually been involved with him at some point in time rather than me just, giving a he said she said thing,
Right.
Right. So, again, I do want to like thank you for actually coming forward and be like, "Hey, yeah, this is how he was. This is the stuff that happened and things like that."
Yeah, no problem.
You see, his character dipped a lot to a noticeable point around the time of his high school years. He started dating another girl in high school, and according to witnesses, he was just as toxic to her, too. I wasn't really around too much during his high school years due to Salt trying to keep me and him apart, so my knowledge of his high school years and what happened are very limited. Although, I do know, in fact, that once him and his high school girlfriend broke up, he was never the same. That's when he started drinking and doing drugs like on overtime. So, obviously, during this time I was absent, he had made other friends, which is fine. But lucky for me, my channel partner, the Fallen God, went to high school with JiJiChillen, so he can fill in a lot of the blanks on a lot of info that I might not be aware of. So, as I stated earlier on in the video, there was a few year time gap that when JiJiChillen had gone into high school and stuff that me and him weren't really speaking. So, of course, I got my channel partner here, the Fallen God, to help explain what sort of stuff I might have missed throughout those years and what kind of stuff have happened in that time that I wasn't there since he, had been around during that time. So, what would you consider to be like worth mentioning throughout those years?
So I just want to just like first of all just put this out there. Like this isn't, or at least not my intention of just slandering. It's more informative.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So I'm going to be talking about just like everything from, I guess, high school into just now.
Yeah.
I guess up until this point.
Yeah, because that's like a lot of where like a lot of the crazy shit happens, really.
Yeah. So, forewarning, like a lot when I was in high school, I didn't really stay towards the group where I was friends with him, mainly because I did a lot of sports, I did a lot of other stuff, so I was always with other people. Some of the stuff I have heard I can't remember only because I just have terrible memory. I've had like 3 concussions.
God damn.
One of the things I can remember it was him and what his girlfriend at the time, him yelling in her and screaming in her face. I didn't see this personally. I heard about this later on.
Hold up 1 second. Before you like keep going on with that, want to make sure that the girlfriend that we're talking about him screaming at is different than the ex-girlfriend that we had in this video talk to. So different girl.
Yeah, different girl.
So yeah, continue.
So as far as, all the other stuff, he never really told me. I never thought to ask because I'm kind of my own person. I don't really dig into people's stuff like that. That's the only event that I know of. Following the breakup with that then girlfriend, there was a different girl. I'll just use her Discord name. Let's call her Pickles.
Yeah, they didn't
Obviously.
even actually freaking date.
Honestly. Not date so much as it was just him using her. And even I told him at one point, that's not cool. And, I'm going to go, a lot of things I'm going to say right about now, I'm going to put out there. He and I aren't on bad terms in any sort of way. What it is I have just realized that I don't need this person in my life. I don't need him here. I am thankful for all the things that he has done for me. He has used his money to get me things. He has given me rides because I own a vehicle, but I do not own the means to be able to legally drive that vehicle. He has done a lot for me. I will say that. I've always paid him back for everything because this will not be used for ammunition later to say, oh, well, he's a piece of shit, that kind of this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Pickles is also someone who I have had, a more physical relationship with.
Right.
So, I'm going to put that out there as well because, could use that oh, well, he messed around with her too. I did, but not in the same sense. Mine was I was looking for some kind of relationship I was dealing with a lot while I was away at college. And she just so happened to be someone who I greatly took to appreciate because she was there for me to vent, talk to. It led to a lot of physical things. And eventually I realized I did not want it to continue like that because I didn't want her to get hurt or harmed because I felt that I needed to fix myself on my own.
Right.
Not relying on the attention needs of someone else.
You see, when it comes to her, what I know that he's openly admitted to was that that she was emotionally invested in him, as in what I've heard from her mouth before was I'm head over heels in love with him, and I thought to myself, I don't know if he feels the same. Either I just don't know something, or I don't know.
It wasn't the same for him. He's blatantly admitted this to me a few times when we've had conversations about her.
Right. And so what I know was that she was like, hey, I want to date you and stuff. And then sometimes he would push her away and be like, nah, I'm not really ready for that. Which is fine about that. But the part that sucks about it is that he would kind of reel her back in by continuing his physical relationship with her and then telling her stuff I can't.
Mine was the exact opposite. She wanted a physical relationship. I wanted the same thing, but I was also dealing with a lot to where it came to a point where I was like, I don't think I'll be able to fully give you what you want because I am not physically okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot that I dealt with from other relationships that I just needed to change when it came to deciding to start a new one.
So it wasn't the right time, pretty much.
Right. And at the time, she didn't understand that, but since then, she has understood. She has come to see where I came from at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I was thinking of her. I wasn't trying to, have any further hidden agenda or anything like that.
Honestly, better late than never.
Exactly. I didn't want it to be something where it's down the line and then it's like, oh, well, I, only did this for you. I wanted it to be where if I was going to actually be with her, then it would be because I wanted that, not because it was something that happened while I was not entirely stable.
Right. And from what I know, he met her at a previous workplace that they both shared, and I think you met her through him, right?
Yes, I met him through a thing we used to do with some other mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
He brought her along, and I even told him I was like, you know, like I like her, she's cool, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't until I was in college and I reconnected with her through social media that she then would tell me that, you know, and I can't remember the words exactly. I can't remember. She said while she was entertaining. That sounds kind of bad. I can't think of a proper word for it, but while she was, you know, intermixed with him, that she began to develop like a sort of feelings for me,
Mm.
and you know, through talking to her and everything, like I began to develop, you know, feelings of my own, but I just didn't want that to be the driving force because, you know, you're not emotional, you're not stable in any sort of way. You know, you get into a relationship and then bad things just happen. It's just a
Right.
bad combination.
Yeah.
Fast forward past that, you know, the college years weren't really anything that I can. Again, 3 concussions. My memory is really bad. But he met this new girl and everything. Let's call her. I don't even know. I can't even think. I can't even think of anything for that because, you know, we're trying not to use real names here.
Yeah, let's just call her his current girlfriend. Let's just call her that.
Yeah, his current girlfriend. You know, she's great. I liked her. You know, she made him into a different person, but I guess the old beast was still there,
Mm-hmm.
slumbering. And, you know, so this doesn't get misconstrued in any kind of way via whatever sort of retaliation he decides to do. I have not always been, I was not always friends with my now partner, Konosuke 7. When I was in high school, you know, some things had transpired with a friend of mine, and we had began to butt heads, not knowing each other.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And it was. And I'll admit there were some rather inappropriate and rather illegal things that have been said on my part. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
We had since moved past that. We squashed all that. And, you know, I'm the kind of person I can give people a first chance. I can give people a second chance.
And
On
it's like,
your
look at
part,
the turnaround too. It's like, bro, we're like channel partners and shit. Like,
exactly. Like we gone from not knowing each other, having some heated hatred for each other, to now beginning this journey as with our own channel. Pretty crazy.
exactly.
But you know, I'm the kind of person where I give first chances, I give second chances. But the thing that really just sets me apart is if I see someone willing to make a change, then I will begin to open back up the bridges and doors and the foundation to start a new tree, as it were, not a new leaf, because you want to build the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with you, because you did make some mistakes more than once, different ones, not the same ones, but around the same context.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I told you that if you ever wanted us to try and at least be cool, whatever, you have to make a change. And you and I didn't have any contact for a good 4 or 5 months. But, you know, I would get updates from your wife almost bi-weekly, every 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you asked me to be a part of one of your videos, I was like, you know what, I'll give him a shot. I'm hearing that he's making a change. Let's see if that's actually what's happening.
Which
And
it was the CM Punk video that we did with Coden.
yes. And you know what? You know, the information can be misconstrued of, oh, I didn't tell him because I was hiding it from him. No, didn't tell him because I'm a person who rather keeps my own business to myself. It's not anyone else's business. I don't, unless I actually want to go out of my way to be like, oh, well, listen, no, if you don't ask me about it, you have no right to that knowledge of what I do in my life.
Honestly, the way I
Unless,
see it is like, what right do you have to sit here and demand that he come to you before doing a video with me? Like, you're a grown ass
exactly, or
man.
even
Like,
afterwards. Like, you are not my parent. You are not my significant other. Yes, you are, my close. You are more than a best friend. You are one of my closest. You were one of my closest friends. But those point still matters. I keep my business from my friends. I don't tell them about things that are going on unless I actually want to. Unless it's actually something where I'm like, oh well, they should know this. And you could say, oh well, he had a right to know. No, he did not. And we can go back and forth about this in the comments, whatever, social media, whatever. You can call me any kind of name that you want. Doesn't matter. It is my opinion. It is my right to keep my own information to myself. It is what I believe would be the First Amendment right. And you can have a nice day.
exactly.
So fast forward into, so I'm a big wrestling fan. I am. If you know me, you see my channel, you see I do a lot of wrestling videos.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Link in the description.
big in the wrestling. Decides to text me a little gimmick from a current wrestler about being his right hand man, proceeds to go in and viciously attack me. I, in turn, did not attack him viciously at all. I merely told him, and in all honesty, what the situation was. He didn't care to hear that. He then proceeded to attack me personally by talking about my ex-girlfriend, saying that she was never in the wrong and she was just trying to help me through my stuff, when what the reality of the situation was is this was a girl who, for the first time in my life, so during the time when I actually met her, I had two other girls, Pickles and one other girl, who were both wanting to be with me. And I guess I had a decision to make. I could have just went with none of them. But I was like, this girl just gives me some kind of, it was something that I needed in what was a friend. It then turned into a relationship because she was pretty forward. She was pretty straightforward. And I like that about girls. I like girls that are pretty straightforward in what they want.
Yeah.
And what I thought was the same thing that she wanted that I did. And that's what she told me. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I was the perfect boyfriend. I wasn't. I have my own issues.
I mean,
Perfectly
everybody
fine.
does.
Exactly. But the one thing that she would always get mad about is that I would put my family first. Now, if you know anything about me, I am a family person. My family will always come first. We were in the middle of a lockdown pandemic. One of my jobs that I work is I take care of my uncle. My uncle is a diabetic and a stroke patient.
Mm-hmm.
He is susceptible to getting this disease. Now, that's nothing to say on her, because her and her family, they do their own precautions their own way. But it's other people out in the world. She cannot understand that. Led to multiple fights. Year later, because it was 2021 in, I want to say January, she tells me that she's not looking for the same thing that I'm looking for. And I'm like, so you have deceived me for an entire year. That's fine, whatever. And there were a couple things that maybe were red flags that I should have seen, like her breaking up with me multiple times, one of which led to her going on a date with one of my friends and having physical contact with him.
Mm.
Now, said friend and I are trying to mend the bridges because I realized that I was mad at the wrong person. But that should have been my first see you bye. Wasn't. We're all human. We make mistakes. Understandable. But the other thing that definitely should have been a red flag to me is that she blatantly said to me that I am not sad. I would not be sad if we broke up. I would not. And I take that to mean is that you no longer have feelings for me, that you no longer care about me. That's what that sounds like to me. Now, if that sounds like something different to somebody else, well, that's you. So he then has the audacity to say to me that she was in the right, I was in the wrong, and she was just trying to help me. No, she couldn't understand where I'm coming from about taking care of myself. And then would compare me to Konosuke has done some pretty bad things. Fine.
Yeah, which I've already admitted at this point in the video.
Exactly. But the thing that really struck a chord was he said that I blame women for my issues. I don't do that. If you know anything about me, you know me in real life, you know my latest ex-girlfriend is the only person I will ever blame for a problem that I have, and that is my trust issues, because now I find it hard to really trust that someone means what they actually say.
See, now to give a little bit of context is that me and Fallen God have gone through some really bad breakups before, and we've had some experiences with some shitty girls before. And
Horrible.
very, very luckily for JiJiChillen, he has not. His worst
Exactly.
breakup was his one from high school where he yelled in the girl's face, that girl. And to this day, they're still like really good friends and shit. And honestly, if you ask me, whenever they're in the room, there's some sexual tension in the air. If you ask me, but okay.
I mean, that's you. Not that I don't pick up on these things. I mean, I have been told that I'm pretty clueless when it comes to females. That's not true. I don't know. I guess they need more clearer signals. I don't know. That is your stated opinion. I, on the other hand, just think that, you know, you date someone for a long time, you get really close. There's always going to be that bond there, regardless of the point. The point is, he's never had a bad relationship with a girl who was vindictive against him.
And it's crazy because whenever we would bring up our experiences of shit like that, whenever it would come up in conversation or if it would have any sort of lasting effects, he is always the first to criticize about something he doesn't know anything about, which it is kind of messed up for either of us to say, I wish you knew what that was like, because like it's that shit.
Oh no,
I
wouldn't wish that on anybody. I've had a girl cheat on me multiple times and lie to my face until I was shown proof by friends who have seen this happen. I've had a girl emotionally abuse me throughout the entirety of our relationship, to the point where I lost two of my friends that now I am still working to try and make it so that never happens again. I have had a girl accuse me of cheating when with no evidence, and have an entire class, talking a high school class, like I'm talking about, like this was my junior year, my entire junior class. A lot of the people who weren't really like close with me, and a lot of them were females, would call me a cheater because they believed this girl who had no proof. He's never had that happen before, and I would never wish that upon him, because that is the worst thing in the world, to have those kind of things happen to you, to the point where you feel broken inside. And I'll admit, I still feel broken now, and I am
that shit sticks.
Fixing myself. It does. It sticks. It leaves scars. It leaves wounds that are going to stay with you forever. For every later on relationship that you are going to have, that next person will have to see what revel in what the damage was that some person decided to cause onto you. And I'm not saying that all females do this, because guess what? There's messed up guys in there.
Mm-hmm.
There are some messed up guys that do things like this, but then there are the guys like myself, like Konosuke, who have had this happen and try and make sure that it does not happen again.
And you know what? It's another thing I've noticed. I genuinely feel like, and I'm going to use myself as an example here. I genuinely feel like he doesn't want friends. He wants soldiers. It's like, if you are friends with him, then it genuinely seems like he feels as if, don't you dare be cool with Konosuke. If you are, I'm going to cut you off completely, as if there's like teams or picking sides, because it's not like that with me. It's not like that with me at all.
And, you know, in a conversation I had very recently, because he decided to call me, I did not call him. I did not reach out to him whatsoever. He did this out of the blue because he had other people telling him that, he should get closure. And I blatantly told him, I did not need your phone call. I did not want your phone call, because guess what? You doing that to me, you accusing me of blaming women when you do not know the situation, to where you then went and texted my ex trying to get information, most likely listening to the bullshit web that she is spindling for you like a black widow or some kind of spider, whatever. That is where I'm just like, you are not my friend. You have dogged me to the point where I can no longer trust you. You want to talk about not trusting me? Well, then I haven't done anything to warrant not being able to trust me. But you went behind my back and did something like that.
See,
I told him that day when we had that conversation, and I deleted him from my social media. I deleted his current girlfriend from my social media because I did not want her to get involved in it, because it, not to mean this in any sort of bad way, because I have nothing but good feelings. She's always been a good person towards me. It was not her place or her business to be in. Deleted her as well.
See, I've always
that was my closure. That was it right there. That boom, done. Chapter ended. Over. We're on to a new one.
I've always noticed that whenever he decides to cut someone off or stop having contact with them for whatever little dumb reason it just so happens to be, he'll always have any friends that decide to stick by his side for whatever reason, whether it be him or someone else or his girl or whatever. They will straight up keep tabs on you. He's blatantly admitted to Fallen God, like he's admitted to him that of stalking on both of our social medias.
I more so it was mine, but he in this conversation previously, he did tell me that he did keep tabs because that's how he found out about the video. So I will say that he did confirm that he does keep tabs on your channel. Now, I had little conspiracies that, oh, maybe he's doing the same for me now. And when he did make that phone call, he did confirm to me that he does still watch my channel and everything. And that's fine. That's great. That's dandy, whatever. But don't come in here in this conversation telling me your opinion about how I run my channel or how I do my videos with my partner and how we do, because and I'll be honest, a lot of the stuff that we say when we're not videoing is very inappropriate.
Shit gets crazy.
I will say for the most part. There was a good day playing, I want to say Grand Theft Auto, where we talk like Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks. And if you don't know who Uncle Ruckus is, I suggest that you open up your browser and you type in Uncle Ruckus Boondocks and you sit there and you watch whatever videos that they have for you, because then you will be informed of the kind of things we were saying.
If you don't know who Uncle Ruckus is, you too young to be watching this video.
Exactly.
Honestly. I
The other thing is that I have to mention is none of it was said with any malice or any sort of vulgar intent. It was all out of the pure hilarity of the character that was Uncle Ruckus.
Of course.
But I told him straight up, I did not need the phone call. I did not need this extra contact, because guess what? You just proved to me that. And I told him, I said, as I'm getting into my 20s, I realized I'm not going to have a lot of friends. I probably won't make any more friends until I get into my probably late 20s or maybe early 30s with the occupation that I choose to do, which is professional wrestling. And I'm okay with that. I've accepted that. When I got out of high school and I started going to college, I realized that there might be people here who I'm friends with now will not be the same people that I'm friends with when time goes on. And I have been nothing if not proven right.
And I mean, shit happens with friends and shit like that, but when it's in a constant freaking pattern like it has been with him, where it's like, we beef for 6 months, we're cool for 6 months, we beef for 6 months, we're cool for 6 months, it's like, dude, come on, man, like, do you hate me or not? And it's like, the fact that now it's just like anyone who's cool with me, but for me, and whoever's cool with me, whatever, he just throws them in the same boat. And now it's like, I've seen you treat me like that. Now it's like, it's kind of heartbreaking to see you treat other people like that, because he wasn't always like this. He was not always like this.
One of the people who have always been ride or die for him.
Exactly.
Regardless of if it was towards you or not, I've always been ride or die for him. I've always had his back. The problem that I have is you are not going to tell me who I can and cannot be friends with because you have a problem with them. If I don't have a problem with them, yes, I might not like some of the decisions that they make, but guess what? They're grown-ass people who are aware of the decisions that they make. And if it has nothing to do with me or affect me in any sort of way, then I don't care.
It's like he doesn't fully comprehend that you can have opposing opinions towards something and still be like friends about it and shit. Like I stated earlier that when it comes to this person I mentioned in the video earlier, Chi, that me and you have polar opposite opinions when it comes to her, but we don't butt heads about it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
we disagree a bit on it, and we're fine.
We've had a
like,
spirited debate. It came down to the fact of yes, I understand that she has done some things,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, and she's the exact same way I am, she will understand that I am my own person, and if I choose to be friends with you, then that's fine. And I understand that she may have done these things. My hope and assumption would be that she's trying to make better ones. But she's still her own person, and I'm not going to penalize her or chastise her or crucify her because of the decisions that she decided to make. She's her own person, and whether they come with good or bad consequences, she will handle them as she sees fit.
And I've honestly found it in very bad taste whenever he attempted to chastise you for me and you being cool, that he tried to hold over your head, considering the bond that you and her have. The whole, oh yeah, well, how would she feel about and all this, and
the
fact that he tried to hold that
in the conversation, I straight up told him, she would say that he is his own person and he is capable of making his own decisions, which I am.
Exactly.
Very well fit. Very well fit.
It's like a lot of this stuff. He feels like it's like you're either with me or against me and stuff, and it's like he's the only one who feels that way, because I'm still cool with plenty of people who are like still cool with him, and I have no problem with that. One of my mods is in his server and shit like that. I'm cool with that. I'm like, I don't care. You do what the fuck you want. You're an adult. Like, you know, it's like there's not. It doesn't need to be like that. Like, why does it need to be like that?
You know, for someone who states that they are always chilling vibes,
hashtag
me,
stay chill.
These don't seem like chilling vibes. This seems more like, to me, negativity. That's what it brought me, was a lot of negativity.
Honestly.
And I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to say it was directly his fault or anything, but since not being around him, being friends with him, I don't know, the sky seems a little brighter. When I get on, I'm actually happy to game, and I don't, feel a raging migraine because I'm playing Warzone all the time. Again, not in any sort of way is this supposed to be malice or with a negative intent. It's just a brutally honest interpretation that, I don't know, something's just changed. I can't tell what it is. I don't know, like a light switch is flipped.
Like I said before,
since breaking away, I guess.
Like I said before, he didn't always used to be like this, and it's fucking heartbreaking to see him like this. And I've said this before off camera, and I will never stop saying this. Ever since him and his ex from high school broke up, he has never been the same. That's when I've noticed everything changed and did a complete fucking 180. And it's like, I don't recognize this dude that I grew up with anymore. It's like, you're like a completely different person. Like, holy fucking shit. And it's like, where did this shit come from? Like, what the fuck, bro? And it's like the fact that, and I'm also a very stubborn person. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But it's always like, he's much more stubborn with selective stuff, and that one being one of them. That if you were to bring that up to him, he'd be like, well, actually, what's happened is I've developed a new stay chill personality, or some shit like that. And it's like, well, for you trying to push your hashtag stay chill agenda so much, you're not acting very hashtag stay chill with a lot of things, with how you feel towards a lot of stuff, and with the freaking your reasoning for doing a lot of stuff, with the stuff that you've blatantly admitted and shit. You know, it's like, come on.
Look, at the end of the day, it's the same thing I told him. He be well in his future endeavors. Whatever he decides to do, I wish him the best in it.
Honestly, I hope he ends up going back to being that person I knew before and shit like that, because this shit is ridiculous, man. You know what? I don't even wish anything bad against his channel and all that stuff. You know, don't fucking do anyone watching this. Do not sit here and go fucking attack him or dislike his videos or
Yeah,
mess with him on Twitter.
again,
Don't none of that. Don't
again,
do none of that
the
shit.
disclaimer is that this is not meant to be negative, hurtful, with malice or vulgar intent. This is just it's just honesty.
And it's
It's
like
bottled up honesty that had to be let out at some point.
you know what? Like this video has pretty much been a long time coming for me, and it's something that I have avoided making for going on years now. Going on years because of the fact that, like I've stated earlier in this video, I freaking loved this man. Like if I loved him any more than what I did, I would have been freaking gay. I would have been gay. Like it was pure out of pure brotherly love that I did not make this video any sooner than I did before, especially during the height.
The Twitter pages after this video, Konosuke confirms he's gay.
Yeah. Honestly, even during the height of the stuff with him and Pickle and him trying to like mess with the freaking stuff that was going on with me and she and shit like that. Like even during the height of all that stuff, I still didn't do it. And especially the height of him fucking turning his back on me the many times back when we were coworkers and shit. I could have and I didn't out of brotherly love and shit. Now it's like even though I wish the best for you on your channel and all your like collaborations or projects or anything else you want to do on YouTube or anything else you decide to go on, it's like that shit has diminished so much. It's like, dude, I feel like I need to make this video to be informative towards anyone else who might possibly involve themselves with him towards videos or a partnership or anything like that, so they know his mannerisms towards his, I guess you could say, quote unquote friends or anything like that, just in case they're so thrown off by, I thought me and you were cool the other day, why are you cussing me out right now like I did something wrong just because I liked Konosuke's tweet or some shit like that, you know? It's like just so people can at least know what to expect.
I reposted some of the hentai he posts on Twitter.
Wait, what?
No, it's like I reposted some of the hentai that Konosuke did on Twitter. Oh, sue me.
Ah, you're fucking addict or some shit like that. You know, it's like, man. And it's like, he's real blatant with his I keep tabs on these guys kind of thing too, because I get the notifications that he subscribes to my new channels and shit, and I see that whenever I announce I'm gonna do a Dragon Ball Fighters tournament, like maybe a week or a week and a half later he announces he wants to do a tournament for Demon Slayer and shit like that, and I'm like, dude, you're making it obvious. Especially after the whole Discord
server. You could think
thing.
It was blatant. You could also think it was just a wild coincidence, but I mean, given the information that he stalks our stuff, I would lean more towards the former than the latter. Honestly. But that's just me. And if he wants to continue watching my channel, fine. I need the views anyway. So
just make sure you hit like.
Exactly. Make sure you like, follow.
All that
Don't
shit.
comment. I would delete your comments. I would delete them.
Yeah, don't do that.
That message is mainly for him. For everybody else, you can like, follow, subscribe. I try and do a stream almost daily, or at least like every 2 days.
As often as we can, really.
Exactly. When I get the chance to, and actually I'm like, oh well, let's do a stream for GTA and do whatever, because with it now being on PS5, we can do a lot more things. They added a lot more things to the online, which actually makes it more fun and just gives more content to do, even though some of that stuff is hard as hell.
So in conclusion, the both of us have known him for years, and we're both like pretty, like, I guess you could say, upset with the turnout of how he's become throughout.
Not even just upset. I'm just more
disappointed,
dumbfounded. Because, you know, I've seen him cut off some people, but I thought there was always a line, and I thought that I was the line. But
I guess you never know.
Someday you got to wake up, and I guess my reality check was that day.
Yeah.
So, and something was weird. Something felt weird about that day, and lo and behold, look what happened. So, but look, I'm on to better things. I'm on to more interesting things. And for you guys out there watching, we do have a couple things in the works.
Of course.
I have a couple things that are coming up that I will be posting to my social media that this guy Tanasuke doesn't know about. So
Okay.
stay tuned for that.
So uh, of course, I want to thank the Fallen God for hopping on here and volunteering as well to give any information he felt comfortable sharing. If you guys do decide you want to check him out, his channel link will be in the description. His Twitter will be in the description, and of course, our joint channel, Otherworld Gaming headquarters, will be in the description as well. Make sure you check all of that out. Please do.
Yes, please. I need subscribers. I don't have many. I need the clout.
I don't know what else to say. It's heartbreaking that I even had to make this video in the first place. I hope that I eventually one day see the kid that I grew up with again and who I thought was my best friend. This video, despite its nature, isn't made to attack or harass him or anybody else. But after seeing someone I held so close to my heart and grew up close to become someone and something I don't even recognize anymore on top of the drinking and drug use, I feel like it's needed. And to anyone who currently hates me and tries to use my confessions in this video against me, all I have to say is this. Just because you did something wrong or horrible in the past doesn't mean you can't go against it now. It doesn't make you a hypocrite. It means that you grew. Don't let anyone else use your past to invalidate your current mindset.